Well, good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to another live this morning, and hope you're having a great start to your day. We're doing question and answer Friday, which is always fun. And let's just make sure I got my questions here. And Mike from Norland, how are you? Andrea, good morning. There's my questions. Okay. Nativity, good morning. And Brahim, Portland, Oregon, good morning to you. Lori Lee, way out on Ventura, California. Norwich, Mary, April, good morning. And Chantal, bonjour. And Nick from our staff, good morning. And Kevin, how are you? Hope you're feeling better. Nellie, good morning. Jeanette, our staff. And Fazia, how are you? Marlene, good morning to you. And Joanne, Berks Falls, I know where that is. Jean, Maryland, Kelowna. Sandra, Fran from Orangeville. Wendy from Markham. And Joyce, good morning from Kansas. Yelang, bonjour. Sharon, Texas. Marine, Boca Raton, Florida. Rita, good morning. Christine. And Diane, Thunder Bay. Deb from Timmins. And Rosa Moriat. Micheline, bonjour. Andrea, Nouveau Brunswick. Cecilia, good morning. Sue, good morning. Manitoulin Island. Maria from Brampton. Jackie, Belle-Île, Nouveau Brunswick. Vashti, Windsor. Lynn, bonjour. Janice, Pembroke. We appreciate you guys. Okay, a couple of more. We got lots of questions. So, Shireen, good morning. Gloria and Mara. And Carol, how are you? Darlene, South Carolina. And Maria, Gary. And Kathy in Brampton. And Debbie, good morning. Wanda from Virginia. And Maryland. Edmonton, Alberta. Reem, how are you? Vince, good morning. I know I missed so many of you. Francis Marie, how are you? Flo and Kathy. But I try, I don't mean to miss you, okay? Good morning, Beverly. Okay, let's get to the questions. And Colleen wants to know if there's any vitamins that would help with dyslexia. Now, dyslexia is, I mean, what we used to call it, no, I guess we always did call it dyslexia, but it's a reading disorder, really, okay? And look, here's me. Anything that comes from the brain, what does the brain need? Fat. Hello, fat heads. Okay, do you have a fat head? I want a fat head. You want your brain to be fat. If you ever see a brain on an autopsy from someone that suffered from Alzheimer's dementia, their brain shrinks like a prune. Okay? You want a fat brain. Fat brain, fatty eyes, you want that. And your nervous system. So here's what I usually found with dyslexia. Okay? Low B12, low vitamin D, not enough omega-3, and those things really help, especially the high DHA. And a high-fat diet. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Okay, I know. I always go back to the same thing, but it's the best. Lise, what would help the ileocecal valve? Well, where is that? Okay, let me just see if I get my chart out. Okay, the ileocecal valve is found between the small intestine and the large intestine. So right on the right-hand side of your gut is your ileocecal valve. And what can cause a dysfunction? Well, I find my response to that is that someone has trouble with that. It's because they have SIFO. I actually saw another doctor copying me because everybody else calls it SIBO, S-I-B-O, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, but that's them. But us, we call it SIFO because that's what it really is, small intestine fungal overgrowth. It's always a yeast. It's a fungus. So when someone talks to me about an ileocecal valve malfunction, it's not functioning properly, it's usually because of that. Okay? In my opinion, that's what I've seen over the years. Okay? Now, I could do a little chart, but you know what? I don't want to get into that right now. We'll do that someday. I'll take that chart out and we'll go through the whole digestive system. We'll do a little anatomy. Okay? It's actually good though. It's a good review. Okay? Now, and that was Marilyn. That was Lise. Okay? Marilyn, if you are a diabetic, what can you expect doing the reset? Well, Marilyn, if you read any of my books, the reset was created for diabetics. It was created for them originally. Okay? And we're going back a lot of years where I started the reset with diabetic patients and monitoring them, of course, and them monitoring themselves, because diabetics usually, these are people that are taking their blood sugar all the time. So what we found is the reset, a 30-day program for a diabetic could literally change their lives. Because as you know, and I'm not sure, Marilyn, if you're new to this program or not, but a diabetic has an allergy to carbs. Simple as that. I know that sounds simplistic, but that's the problem. They have an allergy to carbs, and they should avoid carbs like the plague. Okay? Why? They have an allergy to it. So, what can they expect? Tremendous results. Okay? Tremendous results. It's changing fuels. If you have an allergy to carbohydrates, well, obviously, you change fuels. But when you eat eggs, meat, and cheese, okay, it is the perfect food for diabetics. Their body thrives on it. And the reason is they don't need insulin, or the very little. And that's the key. Your pancreas gets a break, okay? Now, what to expect? Everybody's different. You might have to eat more frequently to start, okay? But your body doesn't need carbohydrates. Just keep that in mind, okay? Now, I'm not saying that a diabetic can never have carbohydrates, but they shouldn't. That's what I'm saying. Okay? They shouldn't. And if they're going to have carbohydrates, it's after the 30-day program, and it's complex, like vegetables and fruit. And they have to limit fruit. You can't live on it. Okay? Somebody's asking a question about fruit, and we'll get to that down the road. But they should expect to feel much better, and they should there's a lot of things happening, but it was originally created, Marilyn, for that. Trust the process. In 3 weeks to form a habit, you're emptying your liver, you're regenerating your pancreas, you're regenerating it. There's so many good things. And you know, we talked about it earlier this week. Diabetics, 80% will die of cardiovascular complications. 80%. And they're much more susceptible to cancer. So think of the benefits when you can you control that diabetes. And I'm not even talking with medications. Many of my patients were able to come off their meds. But of course, you know, you do that with your physician and you're monitoring that. Like I never would get patients. I never put the cart before the horse, ever. They'd ask me about meds, and I'd say, well, don't even think about meds. Just do the program. And if you don't need, you know, your metformin anymore, isn't that a great thing? But you'll know it, and your doctor will know it. You know, physicians are scared, but it's because they even have a hard time. Physicians are so poorly trained in diabetes. I'm not kidding you. They're so poorly trained, and I hate to say it. They don't see the connection between food and diabetes. Hardly at all. They give it off to a dietitian. It's unbelievable. Diabetics have a food problem. That's what it is. Oh, okay. Wendy, diverticulitis. What do you want to know? Wendy, should I eat more fiber or not? No, the problem is fiber. The problem is that. Why would you eat more when that's the problem? Fiber, again, is overrated, but especially if you have diverticulosis. Okay, I gotta get my chart out. I usually have it on that page, but let me just see if I can find it because I'm driving myself crazy. Okay, what page is the digestive tract on? This is my atlas, and, 38. Page 38, and here it is. Okay. Now, I can actually show you what diverticulitis. Now, obviously, if you're listening to this on a podcast, use your imagination, okay? Now, on the large intestine, on the right side, okay? See those little pouches, okay? See those brown little pouches? And you know what diverticulitis is when those pouches get infected. You know what they get infected with? Roughage. And I know, here's them and us. Okay? them, mainstream medicine, almost everybody believes that diverticulosis is a lack of fiber. We, us, believe that diverticulosis, okay, is a problem of too much fiber and too many seeds and too many nuts. People think they're rabbits, and you're not. People think they're squirrels, and you're not. And that's what causes it. Okay? It's what causes it. And why do I say that? Because I used to see diverticulosis every day in my practice. And 90-something% were women. And it wasn't because they were constipated. It was the opposite. They thought they were rabbits. Salad. I gotta have salad. And I like my nuts and seeds. So what happens, I used to tell them, look, you're not breaking that down. You don't have cellulase. What is that? That is an enzyme to break down vegetables. Now, I'm not saying you should never have that. I'm not saying you shouldn't have. What gets caught in your teeth? Spinach. Dr. Martin, it's so good for me. Who told you that? Them. And for, the last 40 years, women, hear me out, generally eat a lot less eggs, meat, and cheese than men do. Generally. Okay? Look, don't come at me with exceptions. I'm trying to make a point. And I used to tell them, I want you to stop. You had diverticulosis. And sometimes they'd come to see me. They've already had bouts of diverticulitis, which it can kill you. You can get sepsis, an infection in your bowel. I said, stop eating salad. You're not a rabbit. Okay. And it was amazing what happened to them. How much better they got. And then I would patch it up. I would patch up the bowel with probiotics, bone broth, like that. I'd patch, fix it. But quit irritating it all the time. Too much fiber. Fiber's, Dr. Martin, it's cereal. I know, but you don't need all that fiber. You were meant to eat meat. Anyway, that gets me excited because we got a lot of questions about the bowel today. Okay, diverticulitis shouldn't eat more fiber to be the treatment. The opposite. What's the difference between roughage and fiber? Olga? I don't know. Roughage, I think, if you ask someone, they're really the same in my mind, okay? Because if you ask someone what, you ought to eat more roughage, what they mean is you ought to be eating more fiber. Roughage is salad. Roughage are fruits and vegetables. Roughage is nuts and seeds. If you look at the definition of it, it's bulkiness. You want a bulky stool, says them. You don't want a bulky stool. You don't win a prize. What prize do you get? But we've been programmed. Our society has been programmed. Okay? And it's craziness, guys. The best roughage, the best fiber is water. What your bowel needs is not fiber. Your bowel needs water. Wash it out. I mean it. Okay. Now, I'm not angry. I'm not. I'm making a point. No, I'm not. I love those questions because, you know, I want to be able to give you the other side of this. I know you should have seen the faces of people that came to see me in the office when I told them, stop! Stop! What? Well, I said, you have diverticulitis. Stop it. You're eating way too much salad. Stop. What? Stop it. Okay. My friend's stomach has, this is Cheryl, has a burning feel to it like it's on fire, and then has a loose bowel movement. What would you suggest? Well, look, is it the stomach that's burning? It could be SIBO, which we know is SIFO. It could be H. pylori in the stomach that's been activated. It could be very low stomach. Look, your stomach, okay, Cheryl, is meant to be very, very acidic. And when it's not, because we're meant to eat meat, we're meant to eat steak, and when we don't eat enough of it, you use it or lose it. And a lot of people have a real burning. Now, look, you have to make sure they don't have an ulcer. Look, there's so many things that come into my head. But if they had come to my office, for example, I'll just tell you what my workup, I'd be looking for SIBO, I'd be looking at the stomach acidity being off. They're carboholics. I would put them on the reset. I would put them on probiotics. I would put them on digestive enzymes. Okay? And when they change their diets, and maybe a little bit of apple cider vinegar, depending, like not with an ulcer, but if that was because their acidity was the problem. But you have to understand, when you ask me a question like that, Cheryl, I've got to go over what we call differential diagnosis, okay? Because it could be this, could be that, could be this, could be that. And I would ask more questions of an individual. Get to the bottom of it, okay? Thanks for that, Cheryl. Kimberly, another one. I have severe bowel issues that are part of my automatic nervous system. Well, I think you mean Kimberly, okay? And sometimes these things just get written out, in short form, so I don't have all the information. But I think what you mean, Kimberly, is you had an injury to your spinal cord. And then, because that's what causes autonomic nervous system bowel dysfunction. If that's the case, which I'm assuming it is, you're asking me, can I take lactulose during the reset? Yes, you can take that. I would have you on, again, digestive enzymes. Don't leave home without them. You take them with every meal. And if you look at our digestive enzymes, they are the most potent, because I was in practice. I saw so many problems. I knew that I needed to get all sorts of different forms of protease, lipase, lactase, and amylase. And there are different forms of them. They're called broad spectrum. And just like probiotics are broad spectrum, different strains do different things. Okay? So, yeah, like you can certainly take enzymes. I would be all for that. Okay. Now, okay. Margaret, this is a good question. I haven't answered this in years. Could Dr. Martin explain about MSG? Is it really as bad for you as some people say it is? Well, listen, okay? And thanks for the question, Margaret, okay? Let me tell you this. I'm going to say 30 years ago, but maybe it's not quite that long. I used to get asked this on my radio show for years. Maybe not for years, but there was a couple of years that every week on my weekly radio show, call in, I'd get the question about MSG. And you know what I used to say? Gee whiz. I haven't used that term in so long. Who cares about MSG? Now look, okay? Again, guys, you know me. Get things in order. Very important when it comes to your health. Okay? Get things in order. What do I mean by that? If you're in the 93% that has metabolic syndrome, it means you're on the Titanic. And when you're on the Titanic, don't worry about the deck chairs and rearranging the furniture. Okay? Don't worry about that. Make sure you don't want to hit the iceberg. So turn the ship around. And when you do, and you're out of trouble, you're turning the ship around by emphasizing eggs, meat, and cheese. Do the 30-day reset, and then live a high protein, high fat diet the rest of your lives. And so what happens, your carbs go here, and your protein and fat goes here. If you do that, you're off the Titanic. Or you're on it, but you're smooth sailing. Now, okay? Now you can look at the deck chairs, and you might want to rearrange the furniture. What do I mean by that? Well, now you can get into being more specific. Dr. Martin, I only eat organic. Well, good for you. Good for you. Dr. Martin, I never touch MSG. Good for you. You know, it used to be famous, MSG used to be famous in Chinese food. They use MSG. As a matter of fact, I saw, I don't know how long ago, this Chinese food says, we don't use MSG. It was actually on their sign or something. Okay? But does MSG kill you? Like you wouldn't believe. Like I said, about 30 years ago, somebody came out with, if you avoid MSG, you're going to save your life. And I was, nah. It's rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's not as bad as you think. Look, is it perfect? Nah. But I didn't worry about it too much, because what happens is those people, those same people were missing the point. Those people had metabolic syndrome. I said, well, don't worry about MSG. Worry about metabolic syndrome, because that'll kill you. Remember, I had their blood work. I said, you got leaky gut. You got insulin resistance. You have inflammation. Worry about that. Don't worry about MSG. Okay? Again. But now, you got all your ducks in line. Well, then you can start, you know what? I don't want no impurities. I don't want none of this. I don't want nothing like that. And you can do that, and I'll give you a high five. But don't put, don't put the cart before the horse. That's the way I used to answer, because I had to deal with real people. And I didn't want them to get into the weeds. I said, don't worry about that right now. Don't go into the weeds. Some people, they love weeds. They complicate their lives. And they get so focused in the weeds. And there's a million things in there that, I shouldn't do that. I can't have this. I can't drink water because water's not pure. And I can't do this and I can't do that. And I can't because this has got this and this has got that. And that's got this and this has got that. And Dr. Martin, I can't have bacon because it ain't perfect. I tell people, well, look, okay, like if you're perfect, then focus in on other things, but most people aren't. Got it? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm on your side, guys. Okay? And I get asked these questions. I'm glad I do get asked them, because then I can go into a little bit of philosophy. Nutritional philosophy. It's the way I look at life. Don't get in the weeds. I told you the story about a patient that came to me years ago, and she thought I was going to be happy for her. And she said, I'm moving to Costa Rica. I'm going to live in Costa Rica. I got myself a little piece of property with nobody around me. I said, well, sucks to be the rest of us. And she's looking at me like I was supposed to give her a high five. I said, well, 99.9% of the population can't do what you're doing. And I don't know. I think there's xenoestrogens in Costa Rica. You ain't going to get perfect water there. And you're not going to get perfect air there. And you're not going to find perfection on this planet. But I said, what about your family? Not too bad. I said, seriously, this really happened in my office. And that lady was so disappointed in me. Well, I said, good for you, but not for me. I got grandchildren. If I'd have known grandchildren are that much fun, I'd have had them first. Okay? I ain't leaving that. Okay. That's a good question. I'm glad you got me excited, Margaret, about MSG. Okay, Dr. Martin Angela, I see that he loves butter. Yeah? I was wondering if G is just as good. Sure it is. Very good. Very nutritional. But it's butter, right? G is butter. That's how they make it, right? For some people who have, sensitivities to dairy, I guess G is better for them. But gee whiz, I like butter. Yeah, I love G. Yeah, that's very good. Okay. Yeah, you can use G instead of butter. For sure you can. Okay. Mary Ellen, what are the causes of vertigo? Well, do you have a whole half hour to listen? Look, lots of things can cause vertigo, okay? If it comes on all of a sudden, usually a virus that affects the middle ear. It could be the neck. It could be Meniere's syndrome, especially with vertigo and tinnitus. And I'll tell you one thing. I find that people get glycation. I call it glycation. And it's like a free radical damage it's due to sugar. And it may be the way your body is telling you, lay off the sugar. Okay? Because I found that in my office. It could be low B12. I found that in my office. Okay? So there's a lot of different causes. And usually when it comes on suddenly, it's usually viral. And that causes the displacement there in the equilibrium. Okay? But check those things out. Thanks for the question, Mary Ellen. Susan, if someone is having difficulty with cheese digestively, but needs calcium that cheese provides, can taking vitamin D with K2 help them get this? Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think we put exactly what you're asking, Susan, putting K2 in with vitamin D? Okay? Calcium is wonderful. Okay? Don't let anybody ever tell you that Dr. Martin doesn't like calcium. I love calcium. Calcium's important. It's important to eat it. I don't like calcium supplements. Okay? I like vitamin D and K2. But when you look at cheese or butter or steak or eggs, meat, and cheese, it has calcium in it and vitamin K2 built in. You think God doesn't know how your body works? So he wants you to eat eggs, meat, and cheese. Why? Because you're getting vitamin D in the animal kingdom, and you're getting K2. K2 isn't found in the plant kingdom. It's only in the animal kingdom. So you get calcium. You get a little bit when you have salad, not much. And it's not very bioavailable, and it doesn't have vitamin K2. It has K1. Okay, thanks for that beautiful question. Marilyn, I'm going to try and get through them, guys, okay? I only got, jeepers, maybe I don't. Okay. What does Dr. Martin think of castor oil packs to support liver or uterine fibroids? Well, look, I don't think much for liver. Okay? Castor oil packs have been around for a long time. Okay? And I got no problem with it. And, because some people, they find it relieves their menopausal or menstruation pain and PMS. And but for the liver, no, it don't detox the liver. When you empty your liver, you do it when you don't use high fructose corn syrup and you don't live on carbohydrates. Okay? So I never found that to be helpful to empty the liver or detox the liver. Nah. Okay? I've never seen any research that shows that. But I like them. I got no problem. Some people used to tell me how much they love those things for PMS and for menstrual cramping and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I said, hey, if it helps, good for you. I got no problem with it. Okay. And Anne. Many young adults are doing fruit only every meal all day for a week or two. What is your opinion? I don't like it. They're making a mistake. It's not good for you. Fruit are God's candies. They're God's candies. Okay? You don't live on fruit. Because then your pancreas is overworking. Okay? Now, look, some fruit, I like fruit. Okay? If left to my likes, I love bananas. Peanut butter and bananas would be me. I love it. But I don't have a lot of it. Because I watch my insulin. And I got to be careful. And 93% of the population must be. And listen, young people are buying and drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay? Animal, right? Don't eat animal foods. And this comes out of documentaries like on Netflix. I got no use for them. Okay? Living on fruit is a big mistake. Okay? And remember, I used to measure insulin and insulin resistance. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Eggs, meat, and cheese are much better than fruits and vegetables. They're not even close when it comes to nutritional value. It's not even close. Now, again, did I say you can't have some fruit? No, I didn't say that. But you don't have it to do a cleanse and all that. See, because now they're talking roughage. Oh, I'm going to have big poos. And I'm going to win a prize. No, you're not. No, you're not. Okay. Where did my questions go? Okay. And I don't like it. Sherry. Is it cherry or sherry? It's got a C. Asking for a friend. They are active and not overweight. What are the possible causes for edema in the leg? Well, look, there can be a lot of things. I can do a whole program. I actually got notes because I was going to do a program on edema. But let me give it to you quickly, and I might still do a program. 6 reasons why you could have, I think I got 6, yeah. Edema, swollen ankles, legs, venous insufficiency. I wrote these down. Blood clot, probably not if they're healthy as a horse. Heart problems, congestive heart failure, probably not. Pregnancy, probably not. Liver or kidney problems, okay? I always used to look at that. And lifestyle factors, okay? Sitting all day, not moving as much, dehydration, body's holding on to fluid. I mean, there's a lot of things that could cause that, okay? And I'm not too worried about it. If they're healthy, I really don't worry about that so much. Thanks, Cherry or Sherry. I'm not sure what to say there. Lee, what can I do for rheumatoid arthritis? Have done the reset? Well, that's the start. Taking all the supplements, doing resistant exercises. Well, you're doing it. It's autoimmune. It's a long-term project. Okay? These, long-term. Stay away from carbohydrates. You and carbs don't get along. You had leaky gut because that's what started rheumatoid arthritis. You had, and your immune system turned on itself. Okay? So what do? Keep doing what you're doing. And stay in the best shape you can. Sun, steak, and steel. And sleep. Okay? Good for you. Lise, good for you. Kelly, why do we need iodine? Because your thyroid don't work without iodine. And this is them, and this is us. Okay? Them, they know iodine's important for the thyroid. Okay? It's important for a lot of things, by the way. I'm going to do a whole show on iodine. I promise. Okay? I'm going to do a show on. I love iodine. But us, When I say your thyroid doesn't work without iodine, it also doesn't work without selenium. I always put those two together. Iodine, selenium. Eggs, meat, and cheese. That's where you get selenium. And when, just gonna say it, ladies, I'm tough on you because I love you. Okay? I'm tough on women because I love them. I want to protect them. When you drink the Kool-Aid of eating roughage and fiber, that ain't good for your thyroid. Your thyroid needs selenium. And when you avoid eggs, meat, and cheese, you ain't getting selenium. And your thyroid won't work properly. Now, there's a lot of other factors on the thyroid. I know that. The thyroid's a puppet. It's got a lot of strings attached. You like that? I could write a book about that. The thyroid is a puppet, and it's got a lot of strings attached. Okay, but we'll do a show on iodine, I promise. What do you do for shingles pain? Well, look, anti-inflammatory. I wish our inflammation formula was on the market. Right now, it's just, we're waiting. Should be very soon. Ooh. But I love curcumin. I love Navitol because they're very anti-inflammatory. I love high DHA, very anti-inflammatory. And remember shingles. It's the herpes virus that raises its ugly head. Get cortisol down, stress. Get it down. Okay. Cecilia, what causes low blood pressure? Well, usually thyroid. Okay? Can be other factors. But usually the thyroid gland is involved with low blood pressure. Okay? And that needs to be addressed. Anna, what is the recommended dosage for potassium? I don't know. It's high. I think you need somewhere around 2,000 milligrams or more of potassium a day. But you don't get it from bananas. You get it from eating bacon. Okay. Get a lot more potassium in bacon than bananas. Bananas, I like I told you, I love them. Are they overrated? Yeah, they're overrated. They're good, though. They taste good. But I don't eat lots of them. I don't. I'd live on it if I listened to myself. But I don't listen to myself. Okay, and Susan, I'm done, guys. Could Dr. Martin shed some light on biologic meds? Yeah, what do you want to know? Okay, I guess they're using them out in BC, but they're using them. Biologic meds are, they target different parts of the immune system. So they're using it now more frequent for autoimmune and for cancer. They're using biologic meds because they're going after, it's called immunotherapy. And they go after certain parts of the immune system to activate it and to deactivate it, depending on what they're dealing with. So, look, pharmaceutical companies, I know I rail against them. They do some good things, okay? They do. And if you look at really what a biological med is, look at insulin. Right? Now, your body makes insulin. And, so that's what it is. Pharmaceutical companies do good things. And, they're starting to shift their focus in cancer therapy away from blasting to targeting the immune system to get it activated. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Okay. I love you guys. I mean it. Talk to you soon.